So a buddy of mine, Zach Whitmore, who many of you guys know, formerly Blade HQ, he now has his own YouTube channel. It's called Zach in the Wild. Go follow him, please. He's doing really cool stuff, and I'm so happy to see him finally doing it. He's been doing this for a long time. He's had his own channel for well over a year now, and he's finally getting these views and reaching people, and it just makes me so happy. But he's pushing the barriers, and that drives me. It makes me hungry because I'm seeing him do cool stuff, and it makes me hungry again. Long story, I can explain where I've been mentally, physically for the last little bit. You guys saw Carry Commission launch, whatever, off topic. Zach's doing this now, and I just want you guys to go follow him. But the reason I bring him up is because he recently made a video that made me think about something, right? He was talking about in that video, gas station knives, horrible knives that we still love. And he asked a question that just stuck in my brain. What was your first knife? And this right here was not my first knife. Just to be clear, I still own that knife. I could show you guys sometime, but this would be probably one of the more pivotal knives in my collection. One that kind of changed things for me. I think it was one of the first that I bought myself and really kind of appreciated. And by today's standards, it's not a great knife, right? It's fine. It'll get the job done. It'll cut, but it's not cool. It's not winning any awards. But the idea and the thought behind it was cool. It's got a screwdriver in the handle, bit storage, bottle opener, ruler, and everything. I love this knife so much when I got it that I bought one for like everybody I knew that year for Christmas. So many people, I'm sure people were like, okay, thank you for this weird knife. It's not all that weird, especially not knowing what I know now, but that's where this kind of took me. This string of thoughts took me down this path of weird knives. I like weird things. I don't like super popular things. I've always been, and now it's easy to just call somebody a hipster if they like things that aren't popular, but I like weird, funky stuff. Like this watch right here. I just bought this from Sky over in the Discord. When I first saw a picture of this watch, I fell in love. It's not a traditional looking watch. It's not anything special on paper or anything, but it's so unique and cool looking and different. And that holds true when it comes to knives as well. So after this long, rambly, winding intro, the point is I have some weird knives and I want to share them with you guys. That's it. So that's what this video is about. And with that said, let's do the damn thing. I think this is probably, we shouldn't start with this, but we're going to, the weirdest knife in my collection. Long been discontinued. I don't even really remember where I got it. I know that I bought it. I picked it out, but I couldn't tell you if this is something I picked up at Goodwill or if it's something I bought when I went to Smoky Mountain Knife Works in high school. No idea. I have no clue. No frame of reference from where this knife came from. And I've not ever seen another version of this knife. Now there's another knife that looks very similar. It is also a Hitchcock design. This is the Hole In One. The one that many of you have seen is the Tactile. So I think this was the precursor to the Tactile. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know when this knife came out. So basically, you've got this little tab here that separates the scale. It's locked in this position, but when you push down on this tab, you can also rotate out and flip the knife out one-handed. The thought process behind this knife was that it was supposed to be purely utilitarian and very bare bones, and I don't know. I also don't know why I would have bought this knife. It's cool, it's different for sure, and that can rotate around both ways, right? You can open it either way. I do think this is more dangerous than anything, but it's unique for sure. To be sure, it's very unique. And you also have a carabiner built into the big opening hole here. That hole cannot really be used when holding the knife. It just doesn't work. And this, what seems to be a giant choil, doesn't work. You can really only hold the knife back here. But I think this is just like a $25 knife. And I've had this thing for at least 15 years, at least. And the blade steel in this is 420 J2, which is something I'm totally unfamiliar with. And the hardness, the Rockwell hardness on this thing, get this, 51 to 53, it's super soft. So there it is, that is the CRKT Hole In One. Weird as hell. So this next knife, I don't exactly recall when I bought this one either, but I do know it was for something on this channel, some video, or maybe I was just planning something and never came around to it. I don't know. I don't know if I've shown this on the channel, but I feel like I bought it for the channel. This is the Outdoor Edge 3.5-inch Razor Lite EDC. Wonderful name, wonderful design, right? No, in all seriousness, design's horrible, name's horrible. I don't like their branding, but I love the idea behind it. It's kind of similar to that Kershaw. It's replaceable blades, and I'm sure this is not news to many of you. Many of you have seen this in like Academy Sports, whatever, but it's something that I feel like not enough people know about. And it's something that I think that if this idea were expanded upon, it could be actually really cool. In its current state, it's almost a little bit terrifying, but you have a backlock with replaceable blades, and these things are very sharp. And get this, the blade steel on it is the same as the Hole In One. I told you I was unfamiliar with this blade steel. This 420J2 is the same steel they use on this, which is just kind of a weird coincidence, but you can buy additional packs of these blades from Amazon. You can get 24 for 30 bucks, and that is about twice the price of a utility knife blade, but you're getting a lot more edge here. You could probably resharpen these if you wanted. It'd be a whole lot easier to resharpen this than it would a utility knife blade, but if you're in a trade or something that you were just absolutely thrashing blades and you don't want to have to sharpen a knife or stop in the middle of the day and hone that edge, having something like this could actually be super handy. But again, I would love to see something like this in a high-end form. We have utility knives that are made out of titanium. We have flippered utility knives now. Something like this could be very, very cool if given proper design treatment. Outdoor Edge, their biggest problem is that this looks like a gas station knife. It feels like a gas station knife, but if you could get something like this that was titanium and or even just aluminum handled, it would feel really cool, and I think would reach a much larger audience. I mean, think about Sandrin knives, which I talked about in the Knife Brands You Should Know, the most recent one. If they took on something like this, so they've got those tungsten carbide blades, if they applied a concept like this, because they'll sell blade, like replacement blades to you. I don't know, I feel like this is almost there, but not quite. But for just an absolute true beater knife, pretty cool concept. I would just like to see one look a little nicer, but regardless, I think this is like 30 bucks. You can get blade refills at Academy, maybe at Walmart as well, but you can definitely find these things in store. I think Lowe's also carries these, and you can get these replacement blades online as well for much cheaper. So cool concept, probably useful for many of you, but I just thought it was kind of weird. So here it is. That is the Outdoor Edge 3.5-inch Razor Lite EDC. Terrible name. So the next knife, I'm also not sure if I've shown on the channel or not. I feel like I have, but I can't place it. Maybe it was the small knives video. I don't know, but this is the Civivi Kai V, and it was designed by Ostap, who, if you didn't know, is the same guy who makes these really popular knucks that are very hard to get your hands on. People seem to really like these. Same guy, Ostap. I met him at Blade Show. Very, very nice person. But this is a pretty weird knife, if I'm going to be honest. It is a double detent, non-locking blade. It's 1.5 inches, which is very, very small, but this is basically a glorified box opener. It just looks weird to me, and that's why I've included it on this list. It looks really funky, almost like a false edge sort of deal. It's not, clearly, but just the shape is unusual to me, and definitely like a small fifth pocket knife. If all you do is open Amazon packages, this is all the knife you're ever really gonna need. So truthfully, that's most of us. But still just a cool, unique little knife. These are like $45, I wanna say, and they now have a different color for the handles, but cool little knife, the Kai V. So this next knife is also just a glorified package opener that also just happens to have a carabiner built in and a bottle opener. Obviously, you put this on the bottle, still works as a bottle opener. This one is the Compano from CRKT, and this one was designed by Mike Bond. It says Bond Design right here. Mike Bond, if you didn't know, is one half of Hi-Tex, and he is also the guy behind Tie 2 Designs. So he does a lot of stuff in the industry, things that you're probably going to be familiar with, like these Hi-Tex chips and these tech liners, or this is the bolt liner mini. Really cool stuff, but he also designed a knife for CRKT in the Compano, and this one is also a non-locking double detent slip joint, or not double detent, this is just a slip joint basically. It does have a half stop, and the way this one works, if you put your finger here, it's really difficult to close that blade. If you try to hold it here, it will close on your hand, so don't do that. But if you hold it right here, it should lock itself open. This is not something I'm going to use personally, but I think the design is pretty cool. It's an interesting little piece. 1.5 inch blade. That one is going to be 5 CR13 MOV, so not the best blade steel in the world, but I mean, it's a glorified package opener. So there you go. These are like 35 bucks. If you're looking for a carabiner that can also open stuff, this might be exactly what you're looking for. Maybe, I don't know. All right, my least favorite of the bunch. I've tried to sell this thing like 5 times. I can't get rid of it. So here it is in my collection still. This is the Brous Blades Mini Cami, and it is a friction folder. I don't know what blade steel this is. The handles are copper. They're very, very thin, so it's not very heavy. But I have owned this since, God, 2014, 2015? I don't know exactly. I was a BattleBox subscriber, and this came in my BattleBox, and I'm gonna be honest, I was not too pleased with this knife being in the box, because I'm like, why? I mean, it looks like a shaving tool. It looks like a straight razor, but it's not, because I mean, the shape of the blade with the handle, like, you're gonna struggle to actually shave very well with it. But it's got that aesthetic, I guess. It's a friction folder, non-locking, funky shape, very questionable ergos, but I do own this, and it is weird, so it's in the video. I think these are still for sale. They were supposed to be a limited edition thing. It says number 5866 out of 6,000. They're still for sale. So it's supposed to be limited to BattleBox only, and well, they're still floating around. But I have one in my collection, probably the knife in my collection that I'm least excited about. Just the way it is. The next one, many of you in the community are gonna know this one. This is the Koch Tools KTC2, and it is a very interesting looking knife in its own right. It's chunky, it's got great action, fills the hand very well. I really like this thing, even if it's not the most practical blade ever, but it's just a cool design because you also have a slip joint pry bar / bottle opener just right there with the blade. So you have this combo of a pry tool bottle opener that is a slip joint with a half stop and a liner lock blade on bearings. This is like a Sponto edge as well. This is the S35 VN version. I got this from Urban EDC Supply. There was a D2 version as well with G10 handles. I like the micarta and black look. It's just cool. It's really fun to just sit around and mess with this thing because the action on it is just so good. I just like having it around. These I think went for $300. They're manufactured by We Knife. Just a cool little unique addition to the collection, and it's one that I'm gonna keep around. I had one of the D2 ones and I sold it, and then I worked to get myself another one of these in the micarta in my collection just to keep around even if I never carry it. I've thrown it in the pocket a few times, but it's just one of those that it's not the most practical knife ever, but it's still cool. And Justin's a great dude, and you know, happy to represent him with this in my collection. Okay, this last one, I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was, I think, one of the most unique and interesting things to happen since I started the channel, or after I started the channel, and that is the Tactile Turn. This is the precursor to Tactile knife. This is the Tactile Turn bolt action knife. So they used the same tube design as their old original pens and put a knife in it, and it's reverse bolt action. So it's an OTF that when you release this bolt, it flies back in. So really interesting. It's only got this like 1-inch blade. It's a D2 blade. They said they were gonna sell replacement blades for $25. I don't know whatever happened to this project. Genuinely don't know what happened, but this is definitely probably the most unique knife in my collection because it's got this craft knife feel to it. If all you need, again, is a package opener and you want something very, very discreet, carry this, because most people are just gonna think it's a pen in your pocket. So I think that was part of the idea of having this thing and making this knife, but now they are a true and proper knife company in Tactile Knife Co. with the Rockwall, but also the Bear. They've really honed in their designs. I really like their designs. They're working on growing and adapting and learning, but this was, I would say, their first foray into making knives. So I'm keeping this around. This one's zirconium too, so this one was an expensive version. But yeah, just a cool piece that's gonna stay in the collection because it's got some history. I've really enjoyed watching Tactile grow. They helped me along the way, and this is just one of those that it's got some meaning to it, so it's staying in the collection. Just like with this this KTC2, Justin is a good friend and has helped the channel. I've helped him, like we're friends, and I like to keep a little memento for my friends, and it just so happens that some of them make some weird stuff, and I like that. So there you have it. Those are 7 of the weirdest knives that I own. I really want to kind of lean on this and look for some weird knives to show you guys. So I'm gonna bring this back and do another episode like this, but what I want from you guys is I want you to submit your weirdest knife to the EDC Weekly. So the next EDC Weekly I do, and probably 2 weeks from now, is going to be weirdest knives. So show me what you got. Show me what you got. Do you know that?
That's going in. You look directly at the camera. It's too good not to go.
Show me what you got, submit it, and we'll do an EDC Weekly. But that's it for now. I'm gonna link everything below. Many of these are no longer available or just too obscure to link, but I'll link them for reference below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little different, and I'm looking forward to seeking out some really weird stuff in the future. So if you enjoyed it, let me know down below. And if you've got some suggestions for some really weird knives, put them in the comments down below as well. If you want to support what I do, you can go to patreon.com/bestdamnedc. But with that said, and until next time, carry on.